Hey friends, Mashari here. Quick reality check. Close your eyes for a second and think about January 1st. Remember all those big goals? That fresh energy? That feeling of a brand new start? Now, open your eyes. We're almost in June. June! How did that happen? If you're anything like me, seeing the calendar flip to June can bring up a mixed bag of feelings. Maybe you're crushing your goals. Amazing. Or maybe, just maybe, some of those good intentions have, well, let's just say they're taking a little break. And if that's you, seriously, no worries. You are so not alone. It's the most human thing ever. This isn't about guilt trips or feeling behind, not even close. Think of this moment right now as a super valuable checkpoint. It's the perfect time to pause, take an honest look at the first half of the year, and figure out how we can make the next 6 months seriously count. We often feel like we need a huge surge of motivation to get back on track, but that feeling is like a fleeting spark. It gets things started, but it won't keep the engine running. What actually creates lasting momentum, especially as we head into the second half of the year, isn't just wanting it badly. It's about building simple, reliable systems that help you show up consistently, even when your motivation is taking a coffee break. So, we've all felt that amazing rush of motivation, right? It's like that first glorious sip of coffee in the morning. You instantly feel more awake, more energized, ready to tackle your to do list and maybe even reorganize your entire closet. And that feeling is great. It's crucial for getting started, for sparking that initial enthusiasm for a new goal or habit. It gives you that push out the door for that first workout or the energy to research that new skill you want to learn. But here's the thing, does that single sip of coffee keep you running at full speed until dinner time? Probably not. Eventually, that initial jolt tapers off, and you might start feeling the afternoon slump. You need more sustained energy to get through the whole day. That's exactly why relying only on motivation for our goals often leaves us wondering where the first half of the year went. Motivation is a feeling, and the feelings can be unpredictable. Some days you have it in abundance, you feel unstoppable. Other days, not so much. You wake up tired or stressed or just not in the mood. And if you're only relying on feeling motivated, those are the days when nothing happens. This is why we need to move beyond just hoping motivation shows up and start building something more reliable, which is systems and routines. Don't let those words sound boring. They are actually the secret sauce to consistent progress, especially when motivation is nowhere to be found. Think of systems as the steady, nourishing fuel that keeps you going after hour and hour, day after day. While motivation is the spark, systems are the engine. They're the simple processes you put in place that don't require you to feel like doing the thing. They just make it easier to do the thing, regardless of your mood or energy. Building a system is about creating a predictable path for yourself. It's deciding in advance of how you're going to approach a goal rather than waiting to feel like approaching it. And that small shift makes a massive difference over time. It's how you ensure progress happens not just when you're feeling hyped, but consistently week after week. Okay, so if systems are the steady fuel that keeps us going, what do they actually look like in real life? Because when we hear systems, it might sound complicated, like you need a fancy flowchart or something. But it's really not. At its core, a system for personal growth is just a consistent process, a simple habit of routine that you repeat regularly to move closer to your goal. Think of it like building with Legos. You don't need to build the whole castle at once. You start with one brick, then add the other, connecting them together consistently. Each brick is a small action, and the finished structure is your progress over time. Let's look at a couple of simple examples for common goals. We'll keep it really basic to show you how easy it is to start. Example number one. This is for financial goals and it's about saving money. Maybe your goal was to save X amount of money this year, but it hasn't quite happened yet. Instead of just hoping you'll have money left over at the end of the month to save. And let's be real, that rarely happens. A simple system could be, the system would be every Friday morning, I will transfer $20 from my checking account to my savings account. Why it works? You've decided when you'll do it, Friday morning. What you'll do, transfer money. And how much? $20. It's a small, consistent action that adds up over time without requiring you to make a big decision or relying on having extra cash at the end of the month. You could even automate this with your bank so you don't have to think about it. Here's a system example number two for fitness goals moving more. Maybe you wanted to be more active, but hitting the gym for an hour feels too daunting right now. A simple system could be the system every weekday during my lunch break, I will take a brisk 15-minute walk. Why it works? It's tied to an existing part of your day, which is lunch break. And it's manageable duration, like 15 minutes. And it's specific, brisk walk. It's not about crushing an intense workout, it's just about consistent movement. Over time, those 15-minute walks, 5 days a week, add up to significant activity. System example number three for learning a new skill. This is for consistent practice. Let's say you wanted to learn a new language or a coding skill. Sitting down for a 2 hour study session might feel like a lot. A simple system could be the system. Every evening after dinner, I will spend 20 minutes practicing on a language app or coding tutorial. Why it works? Again, it's linked to an existing routine, which is after dinner. It's a short, manageable time block, 20 minutes, and it's specific, like language app or tutorial. Consistency at 20 minutes a day is far more effective than trying to fit a huge study session that never happens. See how this work? They're not about massive changes or heroic efforts. They're about creating little triggers and actions that you repeat consistently. That's the magic. It's the consistency of the small actions that builds momentum and gets you results in the long run, especially as we're looking at making solid progress through the second half of the year. These simple systems take the pressure off needing to feel motivated and put the focus on just doing the small right thing over and over. And that, my friends, is building your foundation for success. Okay, so we talked about what simple systems are, those small habits we built into our day. Now, let's talk about why they're so incredibly powerful. It comes down to something that isn't always glamorous and honestly can feel a little, boring sometimes. It's the power of small, consistent action. We live in a world that often celebrates the big, dramatic transformations, the overnight successes, the viral moments, and that's cool. Those things are exciting. But when it comes to making real, lasting progress in our lives, the magic usually happens in the quiet, consistent moments. Think about trying to get stronger. You don't build significant muscle by having one single insane workout where you lift the heaviest weights of your life. You might be sore, but you won't see lasting change. You build strength by consistently showing up to the gym or wherever you work out, maybe at home. You just have some weights with you, like I do, at 12 kilo and 2 pounds each for my dumbbells. And doing the reps week after week, it's the repetition, the showing up even when you don't feel like it, that creates the actual physical change. It's the same with any goal. Writing a book isn't just one burst of inspiration, it's about consistently putting words on the page, even just a few hundred words a day. Learning an instrument isn't about an epic jam session, it's about consistently practicing scales and chords for 15 minutes each day. Saving money isn't about one huge windfall. It's about consistently setting aside small amounts over time. Yeah, sometimes the small, consistent actions feel, yeah, boring. They're not always exciting or Instagrammable. Waking up 15 minutes earlier to read a book isn't as thrilling as pulling an all nighter to finish a project in one go and probably burning out. Logging your meals consistently isn't as dramatic as attempting a juice cleanse and then probably rebounding hard. But here's the truth: the boring, consistent stuff is often where the most powerful transformations happen. It's in those small, repeated actions that you build momentum, you build discipline, and you build results that actually stick. This is especially true as we look at making solid progress through the rest of the year. It's not about a huge sprint in the last 6 months, it's about building a sustainable pace. This is why those simple systems we talked about are so key. They take the decision making out of the moment and make the small, consistent actions the default. When you have a system, you're not relying on a sudden surge of motivation to do the boring thing. You're just following your process. And this is how where the idea of overcoming passive consumption comes in. Watching endless motivational videos can feel productive, like you're doing something. But the real power comes from taking the information and doing the small, consistent actions. It's the difference between watching someone build a house and actually laying a brick yourself. So, as you think about the second half of the year, embrace the power of the small and the consistent. Those little actions done repeatedly will add up to bigger changes that you might think. Okay, so we've talked about why relying on motivation is like running on fumes and how building simple, consistent systems is the way to steady progress. Now, let's talk about something else that's kind of amazing in our world right now. The sheer amount of resources available to us. Like, seriously, it's kind of wild when you think about it. You want to learn almost anything. There's probably a free tutorial, a YouTube channel, a low cost online course, or an app for that. Want to get better at managing your money? There are budgeting apps, applications, financial blogs, and the communities available to support you. Want to improve your fitness? Well, there are endless workout videos, tracking apps, and online coaching. The information and the tools are literally at your fingertips. And this is fantastic. We are living in perhaps the most research rich era in history when it comes to personal growth and skill development. There are fewer excuses than ever before for not being able to find information or get started on something you're curious about. But here's the catch: And you've probably experienced this. Having access to all these resources isn't the same as actually using them effectively. It's easy to get stuck in a loop of just consuming information. We download the app, we bookmark the website, we save the videos to watch later list that gets longer and longer, and we feel like we're doing something productive because we're surrounded by these tools. But remember what we talked about in the last section? The power is in the action, the consistent doing. And this is where our resources need to be integrated into our systems, not just sit there passively. Think of these resources as tools in your toolkit to building your systems. If your simple system is to take a brisk 15-minute walk every day, every weekday lunch, a resource might be a podcast you listen to during the walk or a step tracking app on your phone to help you see your consistency. The resource supports the system. It doesn't replace the action of walking. If your system is to spend 20 minutes every evening after dinner learning a new skill, your resource is that online tutorial you're following or that language app you're using. The resource provides the content, but your system is what ensures you actually show up and engage with the content consistently. It's about being intentional with how you use these amazing resources. Instead of just scrolling aimlessly through endless content, identify the resources that directly support the simple systems you're trying to build for your goals this second half of the year. Choose one app, one channel, one website, and integrate it into your consistent routine. Your phone, your computer, the internet, they are incredibly powerful tools. But like any tool, their effectiveness depends on how you use them. Are you using them as toys for passive consumption or as an instrument for building your systems and making real progress? And as we move forward, identify the resources that can help you to with stick with your simple systems and use them actively as part of your consistent routine. So, friends, we've talked about how motivation is just a spark, systems are the steady fuel, how small, consistent actions build real momentum, and how to use the amazing resources around us wisely. Now, let's touch on something that's super important for actually sticking to the systems, especially as we navigate whatever the rest of the year throws our way. And that's being honest with ourselves and finding simple ways to stay accountable. Being honest doesn't mean being harsh, it just means taking a clear eyed look at where you are right now. Remember our midterm check in at the beginning? This is just a deeper layer of that. It's asking yourself gently, have I been consistently following the simple system I set up? Because there's the thing, life happens. There will always be days when you miss a step in your system or when you just don't feel like it, even with the system in place. That's not failing, that's being human. The honesty comes in acknowledging it without judgment and simply deciding to get back on track with your system at the next opportunity. It's the difference between saying, I missed my walk today. I guess I've ruined everything, and saying, okay, I missed my walk today. No big deal. I'll make sure I do it tomorrow as planned in my system. See that shift? It's about observing without the heavy self criticism and just redirecting yourself back to your consistent process. And sometimes a little bit of accountability can go a long way in helping us stay honest with ourselves and stick to our systems. Accountability doesn't need to be this intense, pressurized thing. It can be really simple. First, tell someone. Just sharing your simple system on your goal with a friend, family member, or even in a supportive online community can create a gentle sense of accountability. It's not that they are going to be policing you, but just knowing someone else knows can be a helpful nudge. Number two, track it simply. Use a simple habit tracker app, a physical calendar where you put an X on days you complete your system, or even just a note in your phone. Visually seeing your consistency or lack thereof can be a powerful motivator and a way to stay honest about your progress. Number three, schedule it. Actually, putting your system's action into your calendar as a non negotiable appointment with yourself can be a great form of self accountability. These simple acts of honesty and accountability aren't about being perfect. They're about creating awareness and gentle support structures that help you return to your consistent systems when you inevitably get a little off track. They help you see clearly if your system is working or if it needs a little tweak. As you move into the second half of the year, practice this gentle honesty with yourself. Celebrate the days where you stick to your systems, and on the days you don't, simply acknowledge it and reset for the next opportunity. And find a simple way to add a little accountability that feels supportive, not stressful. Remember, it's this combination of simple systems, consistent action, and gentle accountability that will truly help you make the most of the remainder of this year. So there you have it, friends. We started this chat by being real about hitting the mid-year point and how that initial New Year's motivation might not be hitting us hard anymore. We talked about how relying just on that feeling is like running on a sugar rush, exciting at first but not sustainable. When we then really dug into the power of simple systems and consistent action, it's not about needing massive willpower or trying to be perfect every single day. It's about setting up small, repeatable processes that make showing up for your goals automatic, even when you're not feeling hyped about it. These little actions done consistently over time are what create the real lasting momentum that carries you through the months. We also touch upon on using the incredible resources available to us wisely, not just passively consuming them, but actually actively integrating them into our system to support our progress. And finally, we talked about the importance of gentle honesty and finding simple way to stay accountable to ourselves. The big takeaway here, especially as we head into the second half of the year, is this: you don't need to wait for a surge of motivation or for perfect circumstances to make progress. You have the power to create the progress right now, one small, consistent action at a time, by building simple systems that work for you. This isn't about suddenly becoming a completely different person overnight. It's about making simple tweaks, building simple habits, and trusting that consistency is your superpower for the rest of the year. So, as we wrap up, I want to give you a simple challenge, a clear next step to take action on this idea right now. Think about one goal you have set for the remainder of this year, and just one. And then instead of focusing on needing more motivation for it, think about what is one simple system you can put in place this week to move closer to that goal through consistent action. Maybe it's that 15-minute walk every workday lunch, or 20 minutes of learning after dinner, or transferring a small amount of savings every Friday. Whatever it is, make it small, make it specific, and make it something you can repeat consistently. Once you have that one simple system in mind, I want you to share it in the comments below. What is the one simple system you are committing to implementing for the second half of the year? Sharing it is a great way to make the commitment real and create a little bit of gentle accountability right here in our community. Remember, you've got this. not because of small magical motivation fairy, but because you have the ability to build the simple systems and commit to consistent action. I can't wait to see what you create and achieve by the end of this year, one consistent step at a time. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.